Titans of industry like John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and J.P. Morgan built monopolies and revolutionized business practices. A monopoly, what the actual game is based on, occurs when a company controls an entire market. This allows them to raise prices to any level, possibly leading to conspicuous consumption. A conglomerate occurs when a corporation owns many different, unrelated businesses. During the Gilded Age, J.P. Morgan built General Electric into a great industrial conglomerate by merging Edison General and Thomson House Electric companies. Similar to a conglomerate, a pool occurs when competitors make informal agreements about production levels and pricing, also potentially leading to conspicuous consumption. However, because these pools were informal, there's very little documentation of them actually occurring. These informal alliances evolved into more formal cooperative ventures among owners to avoid violating antitrust laws. Trusts, large partnership formed by competing companies in order to strengthen their control over the market. The most famous trust was Standard Oil. Similar to a trust, a holding company is a company created to buy and possess the shares of other companies, and therefore controls its policies and management, potentially leading to conspicuous consumption. Okay. We've mentioned conspicuous consumption several times now, and it pertains to the spending of money and acquiring of luxury goods to publicly display economic power. The powerful entrepreneurs mentioned practice conspicuous consumption, and it is a very real part of today.
One of the major entrepreneurs of the Gilded Age was a man who made his fortune in the steel business, Andrew Carnegie. Because of the business he was in, Carnegie was possessed by technology and efficiency. He made relentless efforts to drive down costs and undersell the competition. Carnegie's drive for efficiency cost steel workers their unions and control over their own labor. Andrew Carnegie sold his steel company and devoted himself full-time to philanthropy. Another one of the major contributors to the Gilded Age was the founder of the Standard Oil Company, John D. Rockefeller. Rockefeller became one of the world's wealthiest men and a major philanthropist. He entered the oil business in 1863 by investing in a Cleveland, Ohio refinery. In 1870, he established the Standard Oil Company. Rockefeller was accused of engaging in unethical practices in order to gain a monopoly in the industry. Throughout his lifetime, Rockefeller donated more than $540 million to various philanthropic causes. One of the most powerful bankers of this era and influential men was John Pierpont Morgan, better known as J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan financed railroads and helped organize U.S. Steel, General Electric, and other major corporations. He followed his father into the world of the banking business. In 1871, he formed a partnership with Philadelphia banker Anthony Drexel. Their firm was recognized as J.P. Morgan and Company, a predecessor of the modern-day financial giant J.P. Morgan Chase. He used his influence to help stabilize American financial markets during several economic crises. Morgan spent a significant portion of his wealth amassing a vast art collection. A prominent American railroad builder and financier of the Gilded Age was a man by the name of Jay Gould. In the 1860s, Gould became a stockbroker on Wall Street and manipulated the price of stocks. He illegally issued new stock for Erie railroads in the Erie War with Vanderbilt. In the 1880s, Gould was pushed out of the Union Pacific Railroads, but he regained control of it in 1885. One last prominent figure of this era was Henry Ford. While working as an engineer for the Edison Illuminating Company in Detroit, Ford built his first gasoline-powered horseless carriage. In 1903, he established Ford Motor Company, and 5 years later, the company made the first Model T. Ford introduced revolutionary new mass production methods, including large production plants, the use of standardized interchangeable parts, and the world's first moving assembly line for cars. He was also very outspoken in the political realm.
Andrew Carnegie was a very big and influential philanthropist of the Gilded Age. He donated over $350 million and spent around $56 million building libraries. He was the first to state the rich were obligated to give away fortunes, and he strongly used the gospel of wealth. The gospel of wealth said that the donated money shouldn't be donated to charities so that it reaches the communities and helps their living conditions to avoid the incorrect uses of the money. A famous quote from Andrew Carnegie was that, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." Johnny Rockefeller was also a very big Gilded Age philanthropist. He helped fund the launch of the biomedical research fields and vaccine investigations. He built China's first proper medical school, along with creating the schools of public health at Harvard University and Johns Hopkins University. He gave away approximately $540 million before his death in 1937 at the age of 93. J.P. Morgan was a philanthropic man of truly Catholic charitable interests. He is the leading donor to the American Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. In 1892, he put forward over $500,000 to build the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in Manhattan, New York. Also, J.P. Morgan put aside 3 weeks of every third year to speak with numerous bishops and talk about theology. Henry Ford helped many people, including farmers, orphan boys, African American boys, and even his own family. When storms came through destroying crops, tools, and livestock on farms, Ford would give the farmers $200 to help them restore their farms and start producing again. He and his wife also created a 8-acre farm for orphan boys, called Valley Farm. He also built numerous schools for African American boys in Georgia to go to school. He also spent around $15 million to restore his family's homestead and the buildings surrounding it. He was worth approximately $1.2 billion at his death and gave away 33% of his income throughout his lifespan. Unlike Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, and Morgan, Jay Gould wasn't a very big philanthropist. There aren't a lot of traces saying that he donated money or contributed to projects besides him giving $10,000 to a Presbyterian building fund. After he died, he left $70 million in his will to his heirs, but he didn't give away a single cent to public charities because he thought he had been extremely generous during his lifetime.